In this lesson we will able to identify the valuable contributions of Bienvenido Lumbera to Philippine literature. Bienvenido Lumbera is a Filipino poet, critic, and dramatist. He is a national artist of the Philippines and a recipient of the Ramon Magsaysay Award for Journalism, Literature, and Creative Communications. He won numerous literary awards, including the National Book Awards from the National Book Foundation, and the Carlos Palancsa Memorial Awards. Lumbera was born in Lipa on April 11, 1932. He was barely a year old when his father, Christian Lumbera, a shooting guard with a local basketball team, fell from a fruit tree, broke his back, and died. Carmen Lumbera, his mother, suffered from cancer and died a few years later. By the age of 5 he was an orphan. He and his older sister were cared for by their paternal grandmother, Eusebia Teru. When the war ended, Lumbera and his grandmother returned to their home in Lipa. Eusebia, however, soon succumbed to old age and he was once again orphaned. For his new guardians, he was asked to choose between his maiden aunts with whom his sister had stayed or Enrique and Amanda Lumbera, his godparents. The latter had no children of their own and Bienvenido, who was barely 14 at the time, says he chose them mainly because they could send me to school. Lumbera received his Bachelor of Literature and MA degrees from the University of Santo Tomas in 1950, and then his PhD in Comparative Literature from Indiana University in 1968. Lumbera taught literature, Philippine studies, and creative writing at the Ateneo de Manila University, De La Salle University, the University of the Philippines Diliman, and the University of Santo Tomas. He was also appointed visiting professor of Philippine Studies at Osaka University of Foreign Studies in Japan from 1985 to 1988 and the very first Asian scholar in residence at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. After Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos declared martial law, Lumbera was arrested by the Philippine military in January 1974. He was released in December of the same year. Cynthia Nograles, his former student at the Ateneo de Manila University, wrote to General Fidel Ramos for his release. Lumbera married Cynthia a few months later. In 1976, Lumbera began teaching at the Department of Filipino and Philippine Literatures, UP College of Arts and Letters. In 1977, he served as editor of Diliman Review upon the request of then College of Arts and Sciences Dean Francisco Nemenzo. The publication was openly against the dictatorship but was left alone by Marcos's authorities. At the height of martial law, Lumbera had taken on other creative projects. He began writing librettos for musical theater. Initially, the Philippine Educational Theater Association, PETA, requested him to create a musical based on Carlos Bulosan's America is in the Heart. Eventually, Lumbera created several highly acclaimed musical dramas such as Tales of the Manuview, Rama, Hari, Nasa Puso ang America, Bayani, Nali Mi Tanhair, the musical, and Hibik at Himagsik Nina Victoria Lacta. Sa Saraling Bayan, Apat N. Adyulang May Musica, an anthology of Lumbera's musical dramas, was published by De La Salle University Manila Press in 2004. Lumbera authored numerous books, anthologies, and textbooks such as Revaluation, Pedagogy, Philippine Literature, A History and Anthology, Rediscovery, Essays in Philippine Life and Culture, Filipinos Writing, Philippine Literature from the Regions, and Pano Magbasa ng Panatikang Filipino, Mga Babasahing Pangkalihio. Lumbera is now widely acknowledged as one of the pillars of contemporary Philippine literature, cultural studies, and film, having written and edited numerous books on literary history, literary criticism, and film. He also received several awards citing his contribution to Philippine letters, most notably the 1975 Palancsa Award for Literature, the 1993 Magsaysay Award for Journalism, Literature, and Creative Communication Arts, several National Book Awards from the Manila Critics Circle, the 1998 Philippine Centennial Literary Prize for Drama, and the 1999 Cultural Center of the Philippines Centennial Honors for the Arts. He is currently the editor of Sanghaya, National Commission on Culture and the Arts, Professor at the Department of English in the School of Humanities of the Ateneo de Manila University, Emeritus Professor at the Department of Filipino and Philippine Literature, College of Arts and Letters, UP Diliman, and Professor of Literature at De La Salle University. For a time, he also served as President of the Alliance of Concerned Teachers, ACT, a national organization of more than 40,000 teachers and employees in the education sector. The launching of Bayan at Lipunan, Ang Criticismo ni Bienvenido Lumbera, edited by Rosario Torres and published by the University of Santo Tomas Publishing House, was celebrated by the University of the Philippines in January 2006. As a poet, he introduced to Tagalog literature what is now known as Bagay poetry, a landmark aesthetic tendency that has helped to change the vernacular poetic tradition. He is the author of the following works: Lakangdala, Lakangdiwa, Poems in Filipino and English, 1993, Balaybay, Mga Tulang Lunat at Manabalan, 2002, Essay Saraling Bayan, Apat na Tulang May Musica, 2004, Agunyas Essay Hacienda Luisita, Pakakiramay, 2004. As a librettist for the tales of the Manuview and Ramahari, he pioneered the creative fusion of fine arts and popular imagination. As a scholar, his major books include the following: Tagalog Poetry, 1570–1898, Tradition and Influences in its Development, Philippine Literature, A History and Anthology, Revaluation, Essays on Philippine Literature, Writing the Nation/Pagokta ng Bansa. In this lesson we will able to identify the valuable contributions of Bienvenido Lumbera to Philippine literature. Bienvenido Lumbera is a Filipino poet, critic,